What is left is for us to work towards our prayers. It's not just about the prayers. It's about working to attain the prayers. I wish you well. Welcome to the Radio Man's time. The Radio Man. Radio Man, how are you? I'm fine. You happy to be here? I feel so good to be back here. Welcome, Radio Man. Thank you. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. I am Edmund Obilo. Welcome to my word.
In the global village of conflicting ideologies and complexities, understanding systems and schemes through awareness and social reconstruction becomes expedient.
They never told you how you offended them?
I'm not on trial, so I can't go before.
Join the Radio Man, Edmond Obilo, on State Affairs for local and international politics, security, extensive economic analysis, interviews, and world power play.
Nigerians must choose the path they want to follow. Follow the same looters and sponsors of violence who control the political structures or encourage the formation of a new leadership team.
Be a global citizen and join the radio revolution on State Affairs. State Affairs with Edmond Obilo. Radio just got deeper.
Betamaso sanalom Huasabenge kaputo
State Affairs.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo.
And to give a sense of belonging and loyalty.
So relate it to what is going on in your state.
So invariably now, everybody must be accommodated. The governance of each state of the federation, the council, must reflect that diversity. We have 5 political blocks in Oyo State. Ibadan is a geopolitical block. Ogbomoso, a geopolitical block. Okeogun, a geopolitical block. Oyo, a geopolitical block. And Ibarapa, a geopolitical block.
They are represented in government, are they not?
That is not diversity that the Constitution anticipates.
Are you sure?
It's not.
The deputy governor is from Okeogun.
No, you asked the question, and Ibadan has always been the governor.
Okay, that is the issue.
No, that's why I'm going. You want us to relate it, and I'm coming there. It's not about dominance. It didn't say, the Constitution has not said you have to dominate. It's about what? It's about bringing to the fore the diversities. One, and I've established the diversities.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
So if the ocean surge continues, it will sweep them away.
No, they are operating offshore. They are operating offshore. So and that's what they claim, that they are operating offshore. I tell you the truth. My father was a big fisherman. He had about 8 boats that used to go and fish for him in those days. Now when these young ones go into the sea to fish, the catch is so paltry. It's like nothing.
The fishes are gone?
They are, of course, in the face of oil pollution, why would they go? I mean, for example, fishing in the riverine area has totally disappeared. In my part of Ilaje, fishing that was used by my mother to train me is no more.
So how will the people survive?
I don't know.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
They said rehearsals were always on Thursdays in Ilamawura's house at Itoko, Ileloja in Itoko.
And that this particular day after rehearsal, they sat in Ayinla Omowura's sitting room. And Ayinla Omowura said that one of you will kill me.
Like Jesus Christ.
Like
so
Jesus Christ.
one of you will betray me.
One of you will betray me and kill me. Baba Adewale Oniluola, who was about 90 something around that time when I interviewed him, said he was astounded and he said, Ayinla, what nonsense is this about you dying? What could... And Ayinla Omowura told him that he meant what he said, that one of you will kill me. And then Adewale Oniluola now said, the way we say it in Yoruba land, be a maybe. Is it me who will kill you? Ayinla Omowura said no. Of course, the others took a cue and they were asking him, be a maybe? Be a maybe? He would say no. And when he came to Bayumi, he said, Iwori ma pami. You are the one who will kill me. He said it in Egba.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
What is the theme of today's class? It is politics, as usual. But this time it is power rotation, ocean war, and death in a barroom brawl. That is the theme. That is the theme of this class. Power rotation, ocean war, and death in a barroom brawl. So let's start with power rotation. Power rotation in Oyo State. It has become.
Let's look at power shift. Seyi Makinde by 2027 must have spent 8 years.
So let's look at power rotation in Oyo State. And we'll look at it on the grounds of equity and justice in Oyo State politics. Is there a need for power rotation come 2027? Remember, the political landscape of Oyo State has long been shaped by a glaring imbalance in power distribution, with the Ibadan bloc consistently dominating the governorship position at the expense of the other 4 blocks. The other blocks are Ogbomoso, Okiogun, Oyo, and Ibarapa. Why political merit and voter demographics play a role in this trend, the continued exclusion of other zones from the highest office raises critical questions about equity, justice, and fair representation in the state's governance. Ibadan, being the largest city and the state capital, naturally wields significant political influence due to its population and historical relevance. Since the return to democracy in 1999, most of Oyo State governors have emerged from Ibadan, including Lam Adesina, Rashid Ladoja, Abiola Ajimobi, and the incumbent Seyi Makinde. This trend, though reflective of electoral dynamics, has marginalized other zones, denying them the opportunity to contribute to the state's leadership in a meaningful way. That is what they are saying. Akala was governor from 2007 to 2011. Akala was from Ogbomoso zone. Is it time for power to shift from Ibadan to other zones in Oyo State? What do you think? It is a subject I took up with a former member of the House of Representatives. I'm talking about Lanre Aguru. He represented Urelukpe Irekpo Olorunshogo Federal Constituency from 2007 to 2011. So we discussed this matter in detail.
Let's look at power shift. Seyi Makinde by 2027 must have spent 8 years as the governor for your state. He's an Ibadan man. Seyi Makinde took over from Abiola Ajimobi, who spent 8 years as the governor of Oyo State. Ajimobi was an Ibadan man. Before Ajimobi was Akala, Akala came from Ogbomoso. But before Akala, you had Lam Ibadan, Ladoja Ibadan. Do you think that the PDP should zone the gubernatorial ticket to other zones in Oyo State?
There are so many things going on, and there are so many things involved. As I'm sitting before you, I'm an apostle of good governance, and I derive that thing from the principles of power entrenchment that have been going on in America, where we copied this presidential system of democratic governance from. So I'm less bothered one way or the other by who assumes that power, as long as the deliverables, democratic deliverables, reach the people of Oyo State in all corners and crannies. I'm less bothered. Let me essentially establish that. And that is what goes on in America. Who gives governance, not who is in government. In Nigeria, we have maximized government and desecrate governance. Governance is what gets to the people. Because if you define democracy as government of the people, by the people, for the people, are the people getting the deliverables? No, what they call democratic dividends. No, they are not. So, it is.
Are you saying Seyi Makinde is not delivering?
No, I'm talking generally.
No, generally. Speak specifically now.
No, generally. No, before you start with introduction.
Okay.
Before you get to the specific.
All right.
Yes. Again, that is the angle of governance and government. Whosoever comes, wherever you come from, you have given us where the predecessors of Engineer Seyi Makinde, they all came from. Ibadan, Ogbomoso, then Ibadan. If they are done well, there will only be this agitation for all the people from other zones. And again, you look at the Constitution of Nigeria, the 1999 Constitution, as imperfect as people claim it is. There is this issue of morality and law in power shift. Morality is that whatever belongs, you are a father to, or you and I are sons of a father. We all have right to our father's property. We all are. We both have rights to be there, to get it shared. But in a situation where, because you are older or you are bigger in size, you deprive others from accessing that particular patrimony, that will be crisis. That is the morality of it. But in law too, the 1999 Constitution Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution, as imperfect a document as people claim it is, says it all. There is a point of convergence between morality and law. In the jurisprudence, they will tell you there is a difference, a word of difference between morality and law. But there's this point of convergence in the Nigerian 1999 Constitution in Section 14. And what does it say? Nigeria shall be a state founded on the principles of democracy and social justice. That is Section 14. I'm quoting verbatim. Then you go to Section 14.2. It said, it is now declared accordingly that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. B, that democracy, they will participate in democracy. And C, they will do, everybody has to be involved in government. But what particularly interests me is subsection 3 and subsection 4. Subsection 3 talks about the federal government and its agencies will accommodate all shades and color of people in Nigeria so as to reflect federal character. 1. 2. Command loyalty and unity. That is section what? Section 14, subsection 3. That all agencies of federal government and government itself must reflect federal character. That is why you have at least 36 ministers from each state of the federation. When you go to subsection 4 now, section 14, subsection 4 talks about the government of the state or the local government council or any agency of the state or the local government council shall be composed as to reflect diversity and to give a sense of belonging and loyalty.
So related to what is going on in your state.
So invariably now, everybody must be accommodated. The governance of each state of the federation, the council, must reflect that diversity. We have 5 political blocks in Oyo State. Ibadan is a geopolitical block. Ogbomoso, a geopolitical block. Okeogun, a geopolitical block. Oyo, a geopolitical block. And Ibarapa, a geopolitical block.
They are represented in government, are they not?
That is not diversity that the Constitution anticipates.
Are you sure?
It's not.
The deputy governor is from Okeogun.
No, you asked the question, and Ibadan has always been the governor.
Okay, that is the issue.
No, that's where I'm going. You want us to relate it, and I'm coming there. It's not about dominance. It didn't say, the Constitution has not said you have to dominate. It's about what? It's about bringing to the fore the diversities. One, and I've established the diversities. The other one is that you must give them source of belonging. That one, we have been governors, let it go to other place, let it go. That is why the issue of rotational presidency between the south, the southern Nigeria of 17 states, and the northern Nigeria of 19 states. And you know when this thing cropped up, they said, no, look at it. Buhari had 8 years. And that was what brought the beginning of the crisis in PDP. Atiku, you are also from the north. You cannot succeed a northerner. And that was why 5 governors from the south and mid-belt came together.
Including Governor Shemakinde.
That is why 5. They said, no, you cannot. So he has fought for the what? Entrenchment of that provision of the Constitution. And I believe he's going to fight for it or establish it in the Oyo State.
He said he fought for equity and justice.
That is why I'm saying that, I've commended him for that. So it now behoves him. If he did that at the federal level, then the state level is also there.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That is Lanre Aguru, a former member of the House of Representatives. He represented Orelope Irepo, Olorunshogo Federal Constituency. In that interview, he talks about equity in power he talks about this equity going beyond mere numerical advantage. So the likes of Lanre Aguru are saying that the system should ensure that all political blocs in your state have a sense of belonging and participation in governance. In recent time, I have been hearing that argument. The point they are making is that the current system, where one bloc repeatedly produces governors, while others remain perpetual bystanders, breeds resentment and stifles inclusive development. Do you agree with them? You can leave your thoughts on X. We are streaming on X. So you can come on my page on X and leave your thoughts. You can leave your ideas about this subject on Splash FM Facebook page. We are streaming there. So I'm ready to look at your message. If you are watching on YouTube, you can leave your message on my YouTube channel. Just search for Edmondo Bilo, and I'm ready to take your message. Are you listening on State Affairs app? Have you downloaded the app? If you are listening on State Affairs app, it means you've downloaded the app. You can also leave your message on that app. I'm ready to read your message. If you've not downloaded State Affairs app, you will find the app on Google Play Store and iOS. Just search for State Affairs with Edmond Obilo. We are also streaming on Edmond Obilo's page on LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, you can join the broadcast and also join the discuss. What are we discussing? Power rotation in your state. There are 5 political blocs in your state: Ibadan, Ogbomoso, Oyo, Okiogun, and Ibarakwa. Ibadan dominates the governorship seat since the return of democracy in 1999. Other blocs are beginning to clamor to say, hey, Ibadan, leave it for us come 2027. What do you think? So the lines are open. 070 694 930 00. That is 070 694 930 00. You can also call the radio station on 070 144 757 70. That is 070 144 757 70. The lines are open. Speak with the radio man. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Can you turn down the volume of your radio set?
Thank you very much, Mr. Edmond Obilo. Wow. This is Mr. Olatunji Buhari, one of your admirers. And I'm lucky that Mr. Lanre is with you this morning. As regards the political dynamics, I would rather say it is political dynamics in Oyo State. Having been a vivid football fan, sorry that I'm relating it to football fan, I've been watching Premier League since 1982. That's over 40-something years. What I always notice, Mr. Edmond Obilo, is that when a winner is about to emerge in Premier League, you will see that the winning team, the second to the winning team, and to the third to the winning team, the problem they always have is that they always have draws, or other teams will be beating the second, third, and fourth. So while they are being beaten, they won't be able to match the winning team. So that has been my little experience of politics and dynamics in Oyo State. Whenever Ibadan is about to produce a candidate, the problem we always have in the remaining 4 geopolitical zone is that they don't have the same ideology. They don't put their collective interest together. There will be backstabbing, miscommunication, misunderstanding, and all these things. All to the time that they will be able to fill their candidate in their various political parties. So if they are able to speak in one, they are able to put all their acts together. I think one day, Ibadan will bow for them. Good morning. I'm Olatuji Buhari Abiodun from Akpete.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. Remember, you can leave your message, your thoughts on X. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Edmond.
Good morning, Chief Bolaniwa.
Yeah, thank you. God bless you, Edmond. See, I really listened to my interview, and he really explained things.
Chief Bolaniwa, you're not clear.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
The problem with Ibadan people is this. Ibadan suffered a lot in the past when it comes to choosing somebody to be governor. And by the time things change back from the time of the
Baba is not clear. Baba, you're not clear. You are no. We can't continue with that call. Sorry, sir. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
I'm speaking from Lagos.
All right. Hit the nail on the head.
Okay. If Ibadan have collected 66% of the votes in Oyo State, there is no way anybody can come from any angle. Unless somebody like Baba Dedibu or like Oba Adewale can single-handedly hand over somebody for the whole state. That's all. If not, nobody can come from any angle from Oyo State to become the governor of Oyo State, except Ibadan. One of the leaders confirmed that we want this person, and that's all. That is all.
Thank you. Yes, the lines are open. Let's hear from you. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Am I on to Edmond Obilo?
Yes, you are on to Splash.
Hello?
All right, thank you for calling the radio station. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Edmond.
Please
I appreciate your program always. I'm so lucky today to be on your class.
Thank you.
I think yesterday
please turn down the volume of your radio set, sir.
I'm not yesterday when Alaafin for you was at the Aso Rock, was thinking that Alaafin should have asked for state creation. That from this president of your state, 3 states should be created. It will put paid to this agitation. So that's my thought. I am Odewen.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we'll take this call before we go for a break. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. This line. Yeah, that's... Hello, good morning.
Top of the morning to you, Edmond.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, this is the voice of Mubasha. You see, let me be factual with you. I'm a call by the man. But that does not mean I should not say the truth. This is Oyo State, not Ibadan State. But it's quite unfortunate. The people from Okeogun and the like cannot become governor of the state on a platter of gold. You have to work for it. That is the truth of it. So they should be well prepared. It depends on the candidate that emerge from your party. So sure you understand. That is about the politics. You need the grassroots people, the candidate that well connected with the grassroots people. So we can provide. The people will vote for him or her. So it's not about it, not on a platter of gold. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Other zones are saying it is time that the gubernatorial ticket shift from Oyo State, from Ibadan, to either Okeogun, Oyo, Ogbomoso, or Ibarakba. They make the argument that a zone like Okeogun, with its vast agricultural potential, is contributing hugely to the economy of your state. They mention Ogbomoso's rich political history. They talk about Oyo with its cultural significance, and Ibarakba with its unique socio-economic needs. And they say this bloc deserve a fair chance to lead and shape Oyo State's future. We'll continue with this discourse after this break. Stay tuned.
Hi.
So on. But then the intelligence reports came before the election. It should have been used before the election, not after the election.
Babangida said if he did not annul the election, there would have been a military coup.
That's how it's unfortunate that a general would chicken out of that.
Did he chicken out?
Yeah, well, he was commander-in-chief. So if he had an idea there would be a coup, he should have gone ahead to deal with the coup.
Eventually, he set up the interim national government. And there was a coup. Abacha took over.
Of course.
Was that a coup?
Well, in a way, it wasn't a coup. It was an arrangement. Because that's already inscribed in the interim national government decree, that if Shonekan fails, then the most senior military man should take over. First of all, why would you think that Shonekan will fail? To say that he will fail means that you already assume he should fail. And then you have appointed somebody to take over.
And he took over.
And he took over. So it wasn't a coup, it was a succession. And it was planned.
And Abacha began his lies.
And Abacha then decided that he would stay on. And he decided, he went ahead to establish political parties, dissolved all the parties, and then decided to establish 5 political parties. And Chebola Ige described those 5 political parties as 5 fingers on a leprous hand, because they were the same. They were on the same hand. They were all, you just split the same thing into 5. And eventually, the 4 of the 5 parties accepted Abacha as their candidate for the presidency. Technically, Abacha wasn't a member of any of the parties. So how come the parties now adopt him as their presidential candidate? The normal rule is that a presidential candidate will be one of the members of the political party. In this case, a party was appointing somebody not in their party to become the president of the country.
The plan was that he would be the consensus candidate.
Well, if it's going to be consensus, then you allow the parties to vote and concede that. Not that the leaders would say, he's our man. Because there has also been what some of us see as organized support. Boys asking for Abacha. And everybody, they say...
Youth earnestly asked for Abacha. Led by Dan Ekanu.
Yes, and so...
The 2 million man march.
Yeah, a million march man and that kind of thing. All that drama was going on. So it wasn't as if the thing was normal. It's organized, it's orchestrated.
He lied to Abiola. Abiola fell for his lies.
Yeah, Abiola fell for his lie because they had been together for years. And there was a level of trust. So the lie was also a betrayal.
He said he was going to hand over.
He said he was going to hand over.
And Abiola
nominated some of the members of the executive for him. So everything was going well, but the man who is a strategist and master of deception played him out and eventually arrested him. And of course, he died in the custody.
Abacha also died at some point.
Well, Abacha died. All sorts of stories about that. But what we know is that he died. And Abiola also died, mysteriously too.
So what we have established, that Babangida lied.
Yes.
And ended up badly.
Right.
Abacha lied.
Of course.
And ended up badly.
Yeah.
Powerful non-state political actors in the background.
Yeah.
Breathing down heavily on the government. Early in 1993, a delegation of the Center for Democratic Studies visited the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Dasuki, on a transition sensitization visit. After the formalities, the hall was cleared, and the Sultan requested the representatives of the management of the CDS to advise Babangida not to proceed with the election because, according to him, neither MKO Abiola nor Bashir Tofa was qualified to be the president. The management of CDS replied that it was already late to stop the process because the candidates were already on the campaign trail and the nation was expectant. The Sultan said that if the management of CDS could not advise President Babangida to stop the election, he would do himself.
Yes.
That is the Sultan here.
Yeah. There were what I would call powers behind the throne. Although the throne is higher than everybody, but there are also powers behind who, interestingly, were stronger than the throne, more powerful than the throne.
Can the Sultan be that powerful?
It could be that powerful religiously. He is taken as the head of all Muslims. So that's one area where he could exercise that power and influence. The other is, we said at the beginning that a lie is something you lie because you want to benefit from it. So, or you lie or you believe a lie because it agrees with what you also want what you were thinking before. So if the Sultan tells Babangida something that agrees with what Babangida wanted, of course, they are collinear. They are in agreement, and therefore he would obey. And I think that there was a lot of that, because spiritual leader, but as we say in politics, there's also politics behind the scene, which sometimes determines issues more than the politics on the scene. That's what they call the astrologia. It's something, there are things that nobody is ever told. Politics works at night most of the time, and politicians are night animals.
Yeah.
So, and you never, there are no minutes of such meetings, and the minutes are in the minds of the participants. So it's a question of what's going on, which is not in the public domain.
Why the night? Because as a political reporter, I even find myself working at night to know what the politicians are doing. Why do they like the night?
They like the night most of the time because they want to exclude other people. Women have been complaining that one of the reasons women are not part of
the program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. What are we discussing this morning? Equity and justice in Oyo State politics. The need for power rotation. Where do you stand? What do you think? KG Akinwale says, good morning, Radio Man. I see Sheyi Makinde supporting one young candidate from Okyogun. That young man is always everywhere with him. But I don't know if the party will agree with him. That is from KG Akinwale. Omotayo Olurotimi Onobamiro says the issue about power rotation in Oyo State should not be confusing or controversial. People never talk of consensus in Nigeria. There should just be a consensus. People should also look for the best candidate. It does not matter where the candidate is from. So if you say that, okay, the best should govern. But I hope you also keep that analysis when it comes to the South and the North dichotomy in Nigerian politics. I know many from the South will never agree that the Hausa Fulani should govern continuously. Does that apply to the states too? Boyega Bolaniwa says politics is a game of numbers. I know that Ibadans, with high population and with 1/3 of local government areas in Oyo State, may not vote for any other candidate except an Ibadan indigene. So, all other zones have to wait until Ibadan State is created from Oyo State. Olani Sam Legend Baba is saying that rotating the gubernatorial slots among the 5 blocks would be the best idea. On the basis of equity and fairness, it should go to other zones. But if another Ibadan man emerges, then fairness and equity only exist in the dictionary. That is from Olani Sam Legend Baba. I have another message from another Olani who says power must rotate for fairness. Okyogun has waited for too long. A message from African Advocate says Governor Sheyi Makinde won't be fair enough if he picks his successor from Ibadan again. Other regions have been marginalized for so long, especially Okyogun and Ibarakwa region. If Sheyi Makinde is truly fighting for equity, he should allow them to contest freely without interference. Keep the messages coming. Lanre Aguru is still on state affairs. He's a former member of the House of Representatives. He represented Urelokpe Irekpo, Olorunshogo Federal Constituency. I asked him more questions on this subject.
So how come Ibadan has been dominating other zones?
So the point is, before now, Ibadan was nowhere to be found until 1983. Other zones of old Oyo State had always dominated. You recall Bola Ige. You recall Soja Aderemi. You recall that during the time of Western region, Awolowo was not from Oyo State, was from Ikene in Ogun State. Until 1983, when Bola Ige wanted to come back and he contested with the late Dr. Omololu Olunloyo, and Bola Ige contested at UPN, the party, Unity Party of Nigeria. Dr. Omololu of blessed memory also contested under MPN. But in 1979, Bola Ige was in UPN. He contested against Chief Richard Akinjide from Ibadan too, and he defeated him. Bola Ige is from Esha, and he's a shaman. But power shifted in 1983, even though it was short-lived. Dr. Omololu Olunloyo won the gubernatorial contest. He contested and he won, and ever since, power had not shifted to any other zones again, except Ibadan. It has always resided in Ibadan, the governorship power.
Akala got it for 4 years.
Yes, it was true after Oba Rashidi Ladoja now, but Senator Rashidi Ladoja then was pursued out of the party because he wishes everybody who uses that word. So I was pursued out of the party. When we were with Dr. Ebele Jonathan, when we were discussing the issue of Akala, how to solve the problems in PDP pre-2011 election, I remember the president calling on him. You left the party, and the Oba said, no, I did not leave the party. They pursued me out of the party. So I know if he's watching and listening, he will be happy that we are trying to repeat it. When he was pursued out of the party, Akala got it. But subsequently thereafter, nobody has ever got it. He didn't secure the second time ticket. Of course, he mismanaged that victory of 2007 and 2011, and he ran some of us out of the party. There are so many of us. You remember too, the then Senate leader, was also, saw him as part of the problem. We were there together. We were all there before the president. He was there with late Oba Olubadan, the then Senator Lekan Balogun, who was Otun then. He led us there with some other people. But that it was not Akala against the Ibadan people, but Akala against the members of his party. Because I came from Orelokwe, Oyo North. Camille is from Oyo Central. Adesheun from Ogbomoso, the same town. In 2007, he won Ogbomoso North, Ogbomoso North, with a margin of almost 42,000 votes. But when he fought with us, he only had 48 or 42,000. So we reduced that power by almost 100,000. That is to tell you that you don't fire people within your party. You try to accommodate them. So we are talking of power shift. So the call now is for all those blocks saying, because they have not been saying it out. And I said among the reasons why they have not been saying it, psychologically they are traumatized.
They are traumatized.
They are traumatized psychologically. You know, before the
Is
emancipation.
it that Ibadan bullies them?
No, that has been the tendency of the big brother.
Is it Ibadan that bullies all the political parties?
That has been the tendency of the big brothers.
Who is the big brothers?
When the JSRs were here, they were the big brothers. They were bullying the Ibadan and the Oyos. Now, the JSRs, they have successfully left and they are in Osun State now. You know, we used to have Osun 1, Osun 2. In those days, let us leave that. It's another story entirely. Now we have Ibadan and some other 4 geopolitical blocks that I had already mentioned. So, which one is the biggest? We have 3,271,000 registrants by INEC, the last registration. But as at the last registration, Ibadan has 1,771,000. That is about 54% of the total number of registrants. Okeogun has 691, which is about 20%. Ogbomoso has 392, which is about 12%. Oyo had 282, which is about 8%. And Ibarakwa has 171,000, which is about 5%. So the Constitution of Nigeria did not and does not anticipate that no matter what, even if you are supplying, like the North is doing to any other political party, 19 states. You know how many senators they have? You know how many House of Reps they have? Particularly the Northwest. You cannot dominate because you produce many people. It has to go around. That is why those who fought for power to shift after Buhari had spent 8 years to come downside, they didn't say because the North has the number, then the North should continue to dominate. That is what we are saying. It cannot be Ibadan with all these figures that on the basis of that, it is them that will produce the governor.
But if these 4 zones come together,
yes,
they can give Ibadan a fight. If Ibadan wants to continue to dominate.
In fact, you know what?
Because everybody that lives in Ibadan is not an Ibadan man.
I agree with you, absolutely. You know what? These are the things that I said they have been psychologically traumatized. The psyche had been changed. And that leads us to what happened in United States of America. After the end of the Civil War in 1965, April 9, 1865 rather. Before then, there was what they call Emancipation Proclamation of 1963, January 1, 1963, by the referred Abraham Lincoln. You know what happened? After that proclamation that slaves, you are free to live a free-born life. Black Americans are still thinking as what? As slaves. As a result of the trauma of more than 300 years. So the people from the other zones have not been able to think clearly. That is why they have not seen themselves that in unity there is strength. Come together. And in the Constitution, it's built there. There's inbuilt mechanism in Nigerian Constitution 1999 that one, you have to win 25% of the vote cast in each local government into third number of local government. These other ones, we have 33 local governments in Oyo State. Ibadan only has 11. Even if Ibadan turns out to produce 1 million votes in each of the 11 local governments, they have not met the constitutional provision. They will never be able to make it.
So the other zones have to wake up.
Definitely, they are in slumber. And that reminds me of what Ronald Reagan said when he visited China. He got to China and he said, yes, the giant under the sun is in slumber, but China has since woken up. I hope this is a challenge to all other ones. It's not a fight. It's just a challenge. Wake up. Let them know you exist too.
And they also have to wake up within the political parties.
In all ramifications. You don't have to say you clamor for power change. It has to be using the instrumentality of political parties, which is the platform upon which candidates, or let me say, upon which aspirations are realized and candidates emerge.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That is Lanre Aguru speaking there. What do you think? The lines are open. 070 694 930 00. You can also call the radio station on 070 144 757 70. Call the radio station. Hello, good morning.
I am Lawrence from Yemetu.
Good morning.
About the rotation, I don't suppose it should be at the mercy of the governor. It's just a pity that there is no political ideology in this country. These are the things that political parties should take care of. So I think we need to restructure the party system. That's my submission.
Thank you. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Fabumi John Olumuyiwa says the best solution to Ibadan dominance in Oyo State politics is the creation of Ibadan State. Ibadan is too large and densely populated than all other geopolitical zones. Babatunde Abdul Qadri. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Oyisi John.
Oh, John Oyisi, good to hear your voice.
A pleasure, my legend.
Thank you.
This power rotation, the way this man explained it this morning, to catch everybody's attention. In a this situation, now it's supposed. But the greatest power is supposed to come from the political parties and the government of the country, but enacting a law that this power should go around the senatorial district. By so doing, there will be equal distribution of development and others. Enugu State is at the forefront of doing this thing. If you go to Enugu State, that the power is going around. I think they do a better is doing the same thing. It is the law that will enforce it. If you go to Benue State, not like the chief people are much more in number than the Idoma people. But the step protection in power, devoiding of other things, and that's why the state should remain like that. It is our turn, and it is our turn. Other people should not experience the power. It's demoralizing the way I look at it. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the radio station. He mentioned Edo State. I remember in the last election, the two major political parties in Oyo State zoned the governorship ticket to Edo Central. That is the Esan people. The Esan people. The ticket was zoned to the Esan people. Both PDP and APC. In Edo State, the Bini people are dominant. In the election before the last one, APC and PDP zoned the ticket to Edo South, where you have the Benins. Godwin Obaseki is from Edo South. And Ize Yamu of the APC is from Edo South. It was zoned there. Since the beginning of the Fourth Republic, Edo Central, the Esan people had not governed. Yes, they won at some point. That was when Professor Osumbo won the election under PDP after Igbenedion. And Oshomole went to court and won. So Esan lost that opportunity to govern. So now it has gone to Esa land. What about Oyo State? What about Ogun? I know in Ogun, Ijebu and the Egbas are dominating. The Yewa people have not governed. It is always either Egba or Ijebu. Abiodun is Ijebu. Amosun, Egba. Oshoba, Egba. So the Yewa people have not governed. And Amosun fought to ensure that Yewa governed. But Oshomole schemed him out and gave the ticket to Abiodun, but he wanted Yewa people to govern. What is Shea Makinde thinking? What is Shea Makinde planning? The lines are open. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You see, turn down the volume of your radio set when you call the radio station. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Just keep trying. Babatunde Abdul Qadri says, top of the day to you, radio man. As an Ibadan indigene, I strongly believe there is no region that is bereft of capable and competent individuals who can stir the wheel of governance in your state. Let equity and fairness be our watchword in choosing successor to Governor Shea Makinde in 2027. That message is from Babatunde Abdul Qadri. Egbedofo Adebayo says, good morning, radio man. You see, equity is essential in various aspects of life, including education, employment, healthcare, and social justice. It helps to reduce disparities, promote social justice, and empower individuals. So the lines are open. Let's hear from you. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Dekola, I'm calling from Akingbile.
Make your point.
The issue of zoning, I think, is peculiar to the party. It is the party that has the structure. They will now decide on their own, like what is happening now in PDP. If they decide to zone it to the Okeogun, all well and good. But if they did not, the ball is in their court. The governor cannot decide that the gubernatorial candidates will come from those zone by 2027. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. Did he say the governor cannot decide? In our politics, the governor can. Yes, he can. He can bully his way. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Edmund.
Good morning, Baba.
I like the Bolano about here.
Yes, I can hear you.
You've had it all from messages and how people spoke. You see, I believe education you make it a point to set the mercenary mission for the creation of the state. And that is what makes it prevalent to get the governorship ticket to other zones. Yes, they deserve it. But if I haven't somebody in that, we always want to maintain the popularity.
Baba's line. Okay, let's let that line go. I think we should avoid that line. Yes, let's avoid that line. Hello, good morning.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Edmond Odilo. This is Olatoji Buhari Abiodun from Akwete.
Good to hear you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Larry Aguro is somebody I admire as well, because you will have known that he's a special analyst as well on other radio stations, and I do listen to those stations as well. I listened to one of the commentators now. Let's take it that from this is 2025 May, the issue of creating state is not feasible, and it cannot even be possible till 2021. You know the rigorous step procedure they will have to follow, and it has never happened under a civilian government or a democratically elected government. The last thing that was created in Nigeria was in 1996 under General Sani Abacha. Let's leave that out. Now, Osun as well. You failed to mention Osun. Osun has produced my dear prince from Okuku, Oyelola. We have produced Aregbesola from Ijesha. And to the glory of God, we have Adeleke now from Osun West. So God has created this country in such a way that the political dynamics are dictated by different mechanisms. Oyo State, luckily you have traveled very well. Oyo State and Akwa Ibom, they share the same similarities. We have some large population which determines the election as well in Akwa Ibom. Another state in the north, I can mention about 7, 8 states in the north that is just like Oyo State, especially Kano. You know Kano is a cosmopolitan like Ibadan as well. But where am I going, Mr. Edmond Obilo? Is that we have what is called moral suasion. Moral suasion cannot convince Ibadan because of their large population. For anybody, any candidate, let me just continue to say any prospective candidate now, they need to start the job very early. Map out Ibadan, 11 local governments. That means we have the remaining 22 local governments outside Ibadan. 351 wards. Core strategies. People can work. You know, you have made a very good point while talking now. That most of us living in Ibadan, we are not Ibadan indigene. Most of us are from Okiogun, Ogbomoso. So, if any candidate is able to marshal the 22 local government outside Ibadan and work within the 351 wards in Oyo State, he will certainly make it. It is a myth for all those people in Okiogun saying that they cannot become governor. They can become governor. They just need to do their own work properly. Good morning, I'm Olatunji Abiodun Buhari from Akwete.
You know, this discussion is one we have just started. We are going to broaden this discourse. But before I end this discourse, I want us to look at the political party permutations. Larry Aguru comes back here. Let's look at that permutation before we go for our break.
Look at this permutation. If the APC decided to go Ibadan for the gubernatorial, do you think it will not be smart for the PDP to go Okiogun or Oyo or Ibarakwa if APC goes Ibadan?
That calculation has not sufficed. Why? Because the people or the politicians in those areas have never thought it that way. And that is why what is giving the politicians in Ibadan, the domineering side, to think head we win, tail we win. Because in their own political parties too, those people from Okiogun will be the one. Even if you had visited Edmond, would they have won? What we have to do? We have money among those problems too. But Edmond, let me tell you this for free. I won't mention names, but I know some governors here who had been governors in Oyo State who never had money in succession. I know of 2, but this is not something to disclose on air. But they became governors. Yeah.
But Okiogun is not poor.
The point
Oyo is not poor. You have
they will now
rich
begin
persons.
to tell you that you have to spend billions. You have to spend this. There's some of them who had been governors who never had money. But once you have emerged, and it's not on those flimsy political parties. You know, we have 93 political parties. Don't go and pick fresh political party and you think you will go. It has to be within those foremost political parties. And on the basis of that, money will come, then strength will come, then sympathy will come. I know for sure that some Ibadan people, the real Ibadan people, who wish that power should shift. Let it go to other regions.
I still need your comment here. If APC goes Ibadan, will PDP dare to go elsewhere?
That will be, I told you, there are permutations going on. I want to say that it's too early to say that.
But with Shea Makinde as governor, if APC goes to Ibadan, with Shea Makinde as governor from Ibadan, don't you think he can say, yes, I will go Okiogun and use my influence in Ibadan and attract votes to Okiogun?
It's not impossible. We have given him that credential of fighting for right, and he did that when Atiku wanted to what? To maintain power in the north, and he came out boldly with other governors in the south, and 3 from the south, 1 from the mid belt. That is the Benue State governor to say no, it can't be. So he has paid his dues, and I think he has that freedom or the free will to say yes. If I could do that in the federal, I can also do that in the state, and it will forever be in his favor and record that he's a fighter, he's a freedom fighter, he's a fighter for everybody, not for a section of the state.
Did he promise during the electioneering of 2023 to go Kyogun in 2027?
Not at all, not at all. Nobody ever made that promise. But the point is this: those who had earlier made promises, or even I knew of a governor who claimed that he will cite a university, a state-funded university, or state-funded and founded university at Isheyin. But at the end of the day, he brought it to Ibadan because of the pressure.
You're talking about Jimobi?
Definitely, yes. So, Technical University was supposed to be where? To be in Isheyin, Okyogun. But people from Ibadan came out to say, some, not all, only few, said, the first one we established, that is Lautech, is in Ogbomoso, outside Ibadan. Peradventure, the state is divided now. A new state is created out of or carved out of Oyo State. The 2 state-funded and founded universities will be outside. What is the benefit of Ibadan? And that is the sentiment we want to raise. That's why I was talking about good governance. If there had been good governance and these things do not leak to our head, we won't be clumbling or clamoring for power shift. So what they are telling us that they use that power of governorship to what? To establish things where they come from.
I'm thinking Atiku and Co are discussing alliances. If APC decided to go Ibadan, and Seyi Makinde and PDP decided to go Ibadan, and the Atiku alliance emerges, don't you think that party that will come, if the party comes, should go to other zone? And that means victory for other zones.
We have tried to establish constitutional requirement. There's one thing we are missing. When there's a stalemate, you now go for direct poll. Whosoever has the majority. You don't take into consideration again the issue of 1/4 or 25% of the vote cast into 1/3 of each local government. You know, you need 24 local government by 2/3. And only Seyi Makinde won 30 local government out of 33. For the very first time, 30 local government out of 33. So on the basis of that strength and love, he must have done certain permutations. He must have also discussed with certain people. The clout is there if he wishes, because he holds the what? The reign now. If he wishes that, yes, this clamor is on, and there are some people who discuss with him, not from without Okyogun, but from within Ibadan, that there's need for the agitation is on, and this is one of the agitations. The platform you have provided is one of the agitations. Yes, there's need for power shift. If power had not shifted, President Bola Tinubu wouldn't have got power. If the likes of Wike, Seyi Makinde, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi,
the Benue
man had not fought and insisted within their party, yes, you have to give it to us. If you don't give it to us, then we come from a divide, a part of the divide, which is the South. Then the South must have it. So such a mindset can deliver such a thing to the people.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Ọ̀gá sà, a ti fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ ilé náà. Ṣé gbogbo nǹkan ti
know the militant. Who are the gangbangers of the nation's future? We know them. They are defined. We know the militant. And there are others. The others, however, very often lack immediate identification. But they're especially dangerous. But we know them. So do you all. They are the ones who, even while claiming to defend the rights and entitlements of their constituencies, do little more than defend the rights and entitlements of their privileged existence. They are the generator contractors in whose interest it is that the national electric system never works. They are the minority who conspire to run down the health system of this nation, since they can then divert its allocation to their own and their families' excursion to Wiesbaden for annual checks and fly to New York to cure the toothache. They are the ones who systematically destroyed the educational system, which we took for granted throughout our own past, that has engendered this present.
Intelligence reports about this and that and so on. But then the intelligence reports came before the election. It should have been used before the election, not after the election.
Babangida said if he did not annul the election, there would have been a military coup.
That's how it's unfortunate that a general would chicken out of that.
Did he chicken out?
Yeah, well, he was commander-in-chief. So if he had an idea there would be a coup, he should have gone ahead to deal with the coup.
Eventually, he set up the interim national government. And there was a coup. Abacha took over.
Of course.
Was that a coup?
Well, in a way, it wasn't a coup. It was an arrangement. Because that's already inscribed in the interim national government decree, that if Shonekan fails, then the most senior military man should take over. First of all, why would you think that Shonekan will fail? To say that he will fail means that you already assume he should fail. And then you have appointed somebody to take over.
And he took over.
And he took over. So it wasn't a coup, it was a succession. And it was planned.
And Abacha began his lies.
And Abacha then decided that he would stay on. And he decided, he went ahead to establish political parties, dissolved all the parties, and then decided to establish 5 political parties. And Chief Bola Ige described those 5 political parties as 5 fingers on a leprous hand, because they were the same. They were on the same hand. They were all, you just split the same thing into 5. And eventually, the 4 of the 5 parties accepted Abacha as their candidate for the presidency. Technically, Abacha wasn't a member of any of the parties. So how come the parties now adopt him as their presidential candidate? The normal rule is that a presidential candidate will be one of the members of the political party. In this case, a party was appointing somebody not in their party to become the president of the country.
The plan was that he would be the consensus candidate.
Well, if it's going to be consensus, then you allow the parties to vote and concede that. Not that the leaders would say, he's our man. Because there has also been what some of us see as organized support. Boys asking for Abacha. And everybody, they say...
Youth earnestly ask for Abacha. Led by Dan Ekanu?
Yes. And So
the 2 million man march.
Yeah, a million march man, and that kind of thing. All that drama was going on. So it wasn't as if the thing was normal. It's organized. It's orchestrated.
He lied to Abiola. Abiola fell for his lies.
Yeah, Abiola fell for his lie because they had been together for years, and there was a level of trust. So the lie was also a betrayal.
He said he was going to hand over.
He said he was going to hand over.
And Abiola
nominated some of the members of the executive for him. So everything was going well, but the man who is a strategist and master of deception, political parties dissolved all the parties and then decided to establish 5 political parties. And Chief Bola Ige described those 5 political parties as 5 fingers on a leprous hand, because they were the same. They were on the same hand. They were all, you just split the same thing into 5.
Is live.
At some point, you traveled out of Ilaje land and you came back 2 or 3 years after and you could not find your father's house. What happened?
This was back in the late 70s. By late 70s, I was already in Lagos, working with Nigerian Television Authority. It took me a while to go back home. So I went home, I got to the village, and I was looking for my father's house. So one young man came to me and said, "Brother, you are looking for your father's house?" I said, "Yes." So he took me to a house that was by the ocean and pointed and said, "That is the plank that was used to build your father's house, right there in the Atlantic."
The ocean has eaten it up.
So he then took me to my father's house.
So your dad moved?
He moved.
So as the ocean comes closer?
We keep running. We've moved about 3 times inland.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Tumbler, on his right hand, had his walking stick by his left hand, and then walked down to the front. Ayinla never entered the beer parlor. He stood outside. And so as he came out, Ayinla held him by the nape of his clothes and said, "Where is my motorcycle?" And uncomfortable in that position, even from court papers that I read, Bayewumi poured the content of the mug on Ayinla's face. And then, blinded temporarily, he used his clothes to wipe the beer off his face and apparently tightened the noose on Bayewumi's neck. And in anger, Bayewumi hit him at the left corner of his head.
With that tumbler?
With that tumbler. In fact, from medical evidence that was adduced during trial of Bayewumi, it was said that tumbler dug a hole of 0.02 centimeter into his cranium.
He must have hit it with so much force.
Exactly. Anger. And so immediately he hit Ayinla Omowura with the mug. Evidence adduced in court said he fell by his back and then began to vomit.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
One, we know that the climate change is definitely the godmother of the surge, But there's no doubt that oil exploration and exploitation might have contributed to the degradation of the area.
So we are talking about multinational
oil companies.
like Shell.
I'm not sure if Shell is there, but I know that Chevron is there. I also know that Cornwell operates in that place. There's one they call Express, and I think Mobil also. There's a list of them. But really, that didn't bother me because, I'm aware of the reluctance of oil companies to chip in money into, humanitarian things. So I didn't bother about them.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
She said, not long after, say around that 11, a man just rushed down to the house and said, hey, Bayo, me and Ahila Maura are fighting at Agoka. And she said, she left what she was doing and she was. And that before that time, Ahila Maura's first child, Kuburat, had come to look for her father. She was married then and was lying on a bench at a place where the day after her father was eventually buried. So on the same spot, I think that's dramatic irony.
Mm-hmm.
So she was lying on the same spot. And then immediately that man who raised the alarm came. The first thing Kubura said, I hope Bayewumi has not killed my father.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Yeah, I hope Bayewumi has not killed my father. It is the story of Anyila Omoura, life and times of an Akbala legend. That story will continue on this edition of State Affairs. And Festus Adedayo is the storyteller. Adedayo is the author of the book Anyila Omoura, Life and Times of an Akbala Legend. That's the book here. If you are interested in reading this book, it's a book you should read. This book talks about music and research. This book talks about metaphysics. This book talks about celebrity life. This book talks about social criticism. It is a book you should have. You can order your copy on udarabooks.com. On udarabooks.com. You can also order a copy using my WhatsApp number. So you can just send a chart to 080 309 18449. 080 309 18449. In discussing power rotation in Oyo State, some of the comments I've seen here talk about good governance. So there is a book I'm recommending to you. The book is entitled Good Governance in Nigeria, Rethinking Accountability and Transparency in the 21st Century. Good Governance in Nigeria, Rethinking Accountability and Transparency in the 21st Century. It's a book written by Portia Roloff. Good book. You can order this book on udarabooks.com or through my WhatsApp number. Good Governance in Nigeria, Rethinking Accountability and Transparency in the 21st Century. A book written by Portia Roloff. It's a good book. I can see Juliet Ubogu on Facebook. He says, good morning, the radio man. Good morning, Grandma. I hope you are enjoying the new baby. Yes, say hello to the newborn. That is Juliet Ubogu. She's in class this morning. She's always in class. You know. Bayo Okewo is in class. Bayo, how are you? Good morning to you. Bayo Okewo has always followed me. Bayo, I'm following you too. Yes. You know, my Facebook, I have a new Facebook page. Since the last one was hacked, I've not been able to retrieve it. So I decided to open a new Facebook page. So for many of you asking, Edmond Ubilo, are you no longer on Facebook? I have a new Facebook page now. It is still Edmond Ubilo, just that the picture is different. This time I'm wearing a white and blue sleeve. You can see the white and blue sleeve. You know, my previous page, I was wearing a red polo. I always wear my headset because I'm the radio man. So I'm still wearing my headset, but a different headset this time. The headset I'm wearing in the studio now. So you can see it. So that is my new page. So you can join me on that page. I've already started posting. You can join me on that page. Are you on X? Good morning to you. Let me see who is on X. Lanista Aspiration is on X. I can see him. I can see Ulushi Ibikunle. Kewel Lasky. John Onyisi is on X. Redwan Holla is on X. Ola Kayode, I can see you on X. Olalekon is on X. Thank you for joining. Are you on YouTube? We are streaming on YouTube. I'll be joining you there soon. Let's talk about Ilaje. You heard the voice of Bayo Awala there. Ilaje is a sorry situation. Ilaje? What is going on in Ilaje community? You see, there are places in the world where the earth groans quietly. Ilaje in Ondo State, a riverine area, is not one of those places where the earth cries silently. In Ilaje, the land cries aloud of abandoned schools, through saltwater-soaked footpaths, through the fading songs of a people too long ignored. Ilaje is not just a community in need. Ilaje is a metaphor for what happens when political neglect meets environmental collapse. Ilaje is the story of a people living on the edge, not just of land, but of existence. Bayo Awala tells the story of Ilaje.
I often say to people, the existential existence of the Ilaje transcends the ocean waves. I call it the last straw that broke the camel's back.
The last straw
that broke the camel's back. This is 21st century. Ilaje has no pipe-borne water, no potable water, no electricity. Education is shambles, and for very good reason. Tell me, why would I want to go to school in Ilaje? I will go and teach in Ilaje, where I will be deprived of all things I need to live a decent life, when I'll be earning the same salary that my colleague in Akure will be earning. It doesn't make sense. So there's no incentive, absolutely. For these 100 kilometers of stretch of land, there's not one single hospital. Not one single hospital. So, you know, the surge has happened to make the kill. That's what it is.
So Ilaje has been going through years of underdevelopment.
It's unthinkable. Okay. See, why would you want to build an hospital that will be destroyed? Give it 2-3 years. Because Ilajas have been running away from the Atlantic Ocean. Growing up, the distance between the coast and our village was about 1.3 kilometers.
What is it now?
Now it's about 300 meters.
The ocean is about kissing the land.
It's kissing the river. Kissing the river.
There is no land.
There's no land. No more land. The land has been washed off.
Can you remember growing up in Ilaje?
In those days, I used to walk on the Atlantic Ocean shore to get to my school.
There was land.
There was land. In fact, during low tide, when our parents are going to fish, go to the Atlantic Ocean to fish, you see them pulling their canoe on clay soil, and the thing slopes to the sea. But during high tide, they don't have such problems, So I know the place very well. But the story has changed.
So now children cannot walk to school like you did many years ago.
The cry right now is that something else should be done. What are they doing? They are building plank bridges to connect from one house to the other. And that thing is a trap. It's a trap. Many people are known to have broken their heels, especially aged ones. Because all of a sudden under them, the plank will snap. So, the hazard the people are facing is just too much.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Well,
heavily on the government. Early in 1993, a delegation of the Center for Democratic Studies visited the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Dasuki, on a transition sensitization visit. After the formalities, the hall was cleared and the Sultan requested the representatives of the management of the CDS to advise Babangida not to proceed with the election because, according to him, neither MKO Abiola nor Bashir Tofa was qualified to be the president. The management of CDS replied that it was already late to stop the process because the candidates were already on the campaign trail and the nation was expectant. The Sultan said that if the management of CDS could not advise President Babangida to stop the election, he would do himself.
Yes.
That is the Sultan here.
Yeah. There were what I would call powers behind the throne. Although the throne is higher than everybody, but there are also powers behind who, interestingly, were stronger than the throne, more powerful than the throne.
Can the Sultan be that powerful?
It could be that powerful religiously. He is taken as the head of all Muslims. So that's one area where he could exercise that power and influence. The other is, we said at the beginning that a lie is something you lie because you want to benefit from it. So, or you lie or you believe a lie because it agrees with what you also want, what you were thinking before. So, if the Sultan tells Babangida something that agrees with what Babangida wanted, of course, they are collinear. They are in agreement, and therefore he would obey. And I think that there was a lot of that, because spiritual leader, but as we say in politics, there's also politics behind the scene, which sometimes determines issues more than the politics on the scene. That's what they call diatrilogia. It's something, there are things that nobody is ever told. Politics works at night most of the time, and politicians are night animals.
Yeah.
So, and you never, there are no minutes of such meetings. And the minutes are in the minds of the participants. So it's a question of what's going on, which is not in the public domain.
Why the night? Because as a political reporter, I even find myself working at night to know what the politicians are doing. Why do they like the night?
They like the night most of the time because they want to exclude other people. Women have been complaining that one of the reasons women are not many in politics is that it's a nocturnal game, and they are not given to that kind of thing. Second reason why it is a night game is that usually after the official meeting that they hold, if you find politicians say, "Hi, how are you? Very good. Where are you going now?" "I'm going home." "Okay, we'll see you later." There's going to be another meeting.
What can you take away from that statement by the Sultan? Do you now feel that the North was afraid of the coming of Abiola?
From what the Sultan was alleged to have said at the meeting with CDS management, he felt that not just the North, but also himself would not benefit from a Southern president, at least not benefit maximally from a Southern president. And so
of Ilaje from Akure.
In those days, Ilaje was part of the Ondo province, and Ondo province was headquartered in Akure, but they call it Ondo province. Was headquartered in Akure. Akure to Ilaje takes about maybe 2.5 hours. You know, you come from Akure to Ondo town. From Ondo town, you get to Okitipa. From Okitipa, you get to Igbokoda, and then of course from Igbokoda, you go to Ogbonla through land. Then at Ogbonla, you take a boat for about maybe 15 kilometers. A journey of about 15 minutes.
In a speedboat?
In a speedboat, you are in the Ilaje.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That is the voice of Bayo Awala. Stretching roughly 100 kilometers along the Atlantic coast, Ilaje boasts the longest stretch of coastline in Nigeria. Yet for all this geographical wealth, Ilaje suffers from a profound poverty of development. The people have no functional hospitals, no electricity, no decent schools. In a country where slogans often replace substance, Ilaje is a reminder that geography alone does not guarantee progress. But this is more than a tale of underdevelopment. It's a slow motion erasure. The Atlantic Ocean, once a provider and protector, is now an invader. The sea has eaten nearly 2 kilometers of Ilaje's territory. Comparative analysis with the Bar Beach in Lagos explains the condition of Ilaje.
Now, this ocean surge, can it be compared to Bar Beach?
Yeah. Working in NTA in those days, I remember that during the surge, the sea will flow down to the place where you have the liaison offices of the various states. So annually, both federal and Lagos state government will pump sand into the coast, and in the next 1 year, the sea will claim it, draw the thing back into the sea. So it was a ritual every year. And Lagos state and the federal government will be pumping sand onto the land until it became a commercial issue. And so where they used to sand fill, you now have the Eco Atlantic City. But you see, Lagos is the financial capital of Nigeria. So it's quite profitable for the builders of Eco Atlantic. Tell me, who will go and sand fill Ilaje to make money?
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Bayo Awala is a popular broadcaster. He is a filmmaker. He is from Ilaje. In a place called Awoye. Awoye is the region's largest fishing port. The boundary between salt and fresh water, that boundary has collapsed at Awoye. The two have kissed, a poetic but tragic description of ecological disruption in Ilaje, in Ondo State. So the kiss between salt and fresh water that I'm talking about here is not romantic. It is a breach, a wound that widens with each ocean wave. Homes have vanished. Farmlands have been swallowed, they are gone. Fishing routes have been disrupted. Infrastructure, already weak, has buckled. And yet, for over 30 years, the people of Ilaje cry for intervention. That cry has not been met. Institutions have been silent. Ilaje people have been abandoned. I'm not talking about just inaction, because inaction is passive. I am talking about a strategic neglect woven into the very logic of the Nigerian state. Bayo Awala describes what is going on in Awoye. He talks about the coming tragedy.
You can't.
If this surge in Ilaje continues, what happens to the Ilaje communities?
Sir, that is my worry. That is my worry. As we speak, Ilaje has only 300 meters separating them from being moved from that location.
300 meters.
From being moved from that location. That's what separates them. And so you begin to, where would they be moved to? By the last census, 2006, Nigeria was about 400,000 people. Would they be, last census, Nigeria was about, probably would have risen to about 600,000 or 700,000. Where would you move them to? Free land? Yeah, okay, that is possible. But you see, Elijah is a community that has only one mono product, and that's fishing. They don't farm. They fish and they buy, food stuff and everything from their from the money they make from the ocean, from fishing. So if you move them upland, what would they do? That one is fraught with psychological challenges. It's fraught with psychological challenges. And I just fear for the people.
Can we say what is happening at a place called Awoye, the largest fishing port in Ilaje land, tells us of what the future will look like?
The last time I traveled home, I had to pass through the Atlantic Ocean to get to my village, because the ocean has breached the peninsula, so that both the Atlantic Ocean and the fresh water have kissed. They have met. And it's widening. When growing up, the thing was there, but it was just about maybe about 10 meters deep, inside, and about a meter or two wide. We boys used to jump across, And all of a sudden, it became wider, about between 50 and 100 meters. By that time, it became convenient for every fishing boat in a larger land to pass through that place to go to the Atlantic. Either before then, the fishermen parked their boat on the shore and walk home, on land and walk home. But since there was no more land, they passed through that place and come back to moor their ships in their houses. So, if nothing is done, what has happened now will happen in every square inch of Ilaje land. From that Awoye to Abereke to Araromi, that's what is going to happen.
How many villages are we looking at?
We are looking at about 300 villages.
In Ilaje land?
About 300 villages, occupying a territory of about 100 kilometers by 1.3 in those days, which has now been reduced to 300 meters. As a matter of fact, in a place like Awoye, there's no more land. Mese recently, about 6 months ago, had to move inland across the river. So, the tragedy is unspeakable. You just have to see it to believe it.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
If you are watching online, you'll begin to see the videos soon, the videos from Ilaje, so that you would understand what we are talking about. And it's a place I would like to go see, to go cover, to go tell a deeper story than what I'm doing now. And I hope I have that opportunity soon to go that far, to travel on the Atlantic Ocean, to help Ilaje. You see, Ilaje is not just any community. Ilaje is the only oil-producing region in Ondo State. The only oil-producing region in Yoruba land. Multinational corporations like Chevron and Mobil operate offshore there. They are extracting wealth beneath the sea, even as the land above crumbles. This juxtaposition is as political as it is tragic. Oil flows beneath, and with it, billions in revenue. Yet above the ground, there is no ground. The children of Elijah study in poor structures. That is when they even have structures at all. The people have become naive, but some of them are not. That is why Bayo Awala is speaking out. Some of the people are pointing fingers, not just at the sea, but at the hands that are stirring that sea to explore and exploit oil. Bayo Awala tells us more.
Ilaje is an oil-producing area in Ondo State. So Ilaje is rich, is it not?
Well, if you went there, the inhabitants are always complaining about the operations of the oil companies. In fact, they accuse them of being responsible for the woes that the Ilajes are going through. But because before the incidents of oil exploration and exploitation, Ilaje coast was calm. Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. One, we know that the climate change is definitely the godmother of the surge, you know. But there's no doubt that oil exploration and exploitation might have contributed to the degradation of the area.
So we are talking about multinational
oil companies.
Like Shell.
I'm not sure if Shell is there, but I know that Chevron is there. I also know that Cornwell operates in that place. There's one they call Express, and I think Mobil also. There's a list of them. But really, that didn't bother me because, you know, I'm aware of the reluctance of oil companies to chip in money into, you know, humanitarian things. So I didn't bother about them.
So if the ocean surge continues, it will sweep them away?
No, they are operating offshore. They are operating offshore. So and that's what they claim, that, you know, they are operating offshore. I mean, I tell you the truth. My father was a big fisherman. He had about 8 boats that used to go and fish for him in those days. Now when these young ones go into the sea to fish, the catch is so paltry. It's like nothing.
The fishes are gone?
They are, of course, in the face of oil pollution, you know, why would they go? I mean, for example, fishing in the riverine area has totally disappeared. In my part of Ilaje, fishing that was used by my mother to train me is no more.
So how would the people survive?
I don't know.
So the only oil-producing area in Ondo is in danger?
Serious danger. Serious one.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You know, the voice you are listening to, Bayo Awala, that is the voice of an old man. If you watch the video, Bayo Awala is a grandpa. He's 85 years. The Baba I'm talking to now. But I don't understand that Baba. At that age, that Baba came to meet me in Ibadan to tell the story. You would ask, What is he looking for? Why is he so worried? At 85. Ilaje. In the absence of political will, Bayo Awala of Ilaje have turned to storytelling, not of luxury, but of necessity. A documentary film entitled Odigboshi has emerged as his chosen weapon. You know, that title means it must not be swept away. Odigboshi. The title captures the existential urgency of Bayo Awala's campaign to save Ilaje. Odigboshi is not just a documentary. It is a philosophical art of resistance. It is the belief that even as waters rise, stories can hold the line. The film will chronicle the impact of rising sea levels, ocean surges, and environmental degradation on Ilaje's culture, economy, and daily life. Baba Awala talks about remediation and the film he is planning to shoot on Ilaje land.
At some point, you traveled out of Ilaje land and you came back 2 or 3 years after and you could not find your father's house. What happened?
This was back in the late 70s. By late 70s, I was already in Lagos, working with Nigerian Television Authority. It took me a while to go back home. So I went home, I got to the village, and I was looking for my father's house. So one young man came to me and said, "Brother, you are looking for your father's house?" I said, "Yes." So he took me to a house that was by the ocean and pointed and said, "That is the plank that was used to build your father's house, right there in the Atlantic."
The ocean has eaten it up.
Has eaten it up. So he then took me to my father's house.
So your dad moved?
He moved.
So as the ocean comes closer?
We keep running. We've moved about 3 times inland. 3 times inland. We've moved about 3 times inland.
And they've been called for remediation.
The Ilajes have been crying to government for over 30 years. For over 30 years, they've been crying for remediation. Maybe tomorrow, the government will listen.
Tomorrow? Why not today?
Because all the cries have been falling on deaf ears. So how do we know when they will respond?
But there's danger knocking.
It's very, very definite.
And you have taken it upon your shoulders to act, to tell the story of Ilaje. You are working on a documentary. Tell us about it.
As a film producer, I felt enchanted that I could do a documentary on this phenomenon. I've never seen it before, so it was quite interesting to me. So in the process, I then said to myself, "Hey, if you do this documentary, you could put it at the disposal of your communities to run with it and campaign for remediation globally." So that was what brought me to the present situation.
You have titled the documentary Odigboshi.
Yes.
Why Odigboshi?
Odigboshi is a term that means farewell, particularly to departed souls. And so we have borrowed it to typify this project, meaning that if nothing is done about the larger situation, you might as well kiss them goodbye. It's goodbye. Because definitely, it's taken about 50 years to get to where we are, and about 1 kilometer of land space has been eaten up by the ocean. So I said to myself, give it another 10 years. The remaining 300 meters will be eaten off.
Why are you this worried? At 85, I thought you should be resting.
Yeah, I thought to myself to make this documentary a denouement for my professional savvy. At 85, I doubt if I will have strength to pursue any other film project. But see, I started this about 3 years ago, precisely about March 2022. And I didn't imagine that it would take me this long. But it's taking this long because my people feel unconcerned.
The larger people, they are not seeing the danger coming?
Well, maybe it is there, but perhaps they do not know the implication. It's there for everybody to see.
We are talking about rising sea level.
Yes.
Coastal flooding.
Yes.
Ocean surge.
Yes.
Environmental degradation.
Everything is there.
So the need for this documentary.
Yeah, the documentary, for me, to begin with, documentary treats actuality. It treats actuality. It presents actuality graphically and says what should be done. Which is why I think that my people ought to be more interested in having a documentary. How can you go to a people, say, for example, you want to go to United Nations, you want to describe with mouth that, let the people see it. Let's see how many lives have been endangered. Let them see how, the suffering that these people are going through without light, without water. If you see the water the people drink, you'll be amazed that they are still alive. I used to boast that water can never kill me, no matter the amount of water I drink. It can never, because I've drank worse water than what anybody else could present to me now. That place is endemic with malaria. It's endemic with malaria. Pneumonia is endemic. These are the two greatest challenges that the larger young ones have. Malaria and pneumonia. In my days, it was very easy to know an Elijah. All you just need to do is look at his stomach. You see blade marks. Blade marks, treated for malaria. For pneumonia.
The place is cold.
Usually very cold. Usually very cold.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Oh yes, it's time to Oyo State Chapter holds Information Technology Stakeholders Summit and investiture of its new executive members. Theme: Bridging the Academia Industry Gap in IT Development. Keynote speaker: Professor Adinike O. Osofisa, the first African female professor of computer science. Other guest speakers: Professor Olumide Longe, Mr. Kazim Tewogbade, and Comrade
A delegation of the Center for Democratic Studies visited the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Dasuki, on a transition sensitization visit. After the formalities, the hall was cleared and the Sultan requested the representatives of the management of the CDS to advise Babangida not to proceed with the election, because according to him,
Neither MKO Abiola nor Bashir Tofa was qualified to be the president. The management of CDS replied that it was already late to stop the process because the candidates were already on the campaign trail and the nation was expectant. The Sultan said that if the management of CDS could not advise President Babangida to stop the election, he would do himself.
Yes.
That is the Sultan here.
Yeah. There were what I would call powers behind the throne. Although the throne is higher than everybody, but there are also powers behind who, interestingly, were stronger than the throne, more powerful than the throne.
Can the Sultan be that powerful?
It could be that powerful religiously. He is taken as the head of all Muslims. So that's one area where he could exercise that power and influence. The other is, we said at the beginning that a lie is something you lie because you want to benefit from it. So, or you lie or you believe a lie because it agrees with what you also want, what you were thinking before. So if the Sultan tells Babangida something that agrees with what Babangida wanted, of course, they are collinear. They are in agreement, and therefore he would obey. And I think that there was a lot of that, because spiritual leader, but as we say in politics, there's also spiritual leader, but as we say in politics, there's also team, which sometimes determines issues more than the politics on the scene. That's what they call the trilogia. It's something, there are things that nobody is ever told. Politics works at night most of the time, and politicians are night animals.
Yeah.
So, and you never, there are no minutes of such meetings, and the minutes are in the minds of the participants. So it's a question of what's going on, which is not in the public domain.
Why the night? Because as a political reporter, I even find myself working at night to know what the politicians are doing. Why do they like the night?
They like the night most of the time because they want to exclude other people. Women have been complaining that one of the reasons women are not many in politics is that it's a nocturnal game, and they are not given to that kind of thing. Second reason why it is a night game is that usually after the official meeting that they, which sometimes determines issues more than the politics on the scene. That's what they call the trilogia. It's something, there are things that nobody is ever told. Politics works at night most of the time, and politicians are night animals.
Yeah.
So, and you never, there are no minutes of such meetings, and the minutes are in the minds of the participants. So it's a question of what's going on, which is not in the public domain.
Why the night? Because as a political reporter, I even find myself working at night to know what the politicians are doing. Why do they like the night?
They like the night most of the time because they want to exclude other people. women have been complaining that one of the reasons women are not many in politics is that it's a nocturnal game, and they are not given to that kind of thing. Second reason why it is a night game is that usually after the official meeting that they hold, if you find politicians say, "Hi, how are you? Very good. Where are you going now?" "I'm going home." "Okay, we'll see you later." There's going to be another meeting.
What can you take away from that statement by the Sultan? Do you now feel that the North was afraid of the coming of Abiola?
From what the Sultan was alleged to have said at the meeting with CDS management, he felt that not just the North, but also himself would not benefit from a Southern president, at least not benefit.
Live.
From the pictures I have seen, it seems everybody's living on water.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Bayo Awala is talking about producing a docudrama on Ilaje. I want to recommend his website to you. Go on that website, you see what he's planning to do and see if you can support. That website is odigboshi.co/documentary. odigboshi.co/documentary. That is the website. You see the detail of what he's planning to do. odigboshi.co/documentary. The film will spotlight not just the loss of land, but the threatened extinction of memory, ritual, and community. Some would ask, where are the sons, the rich sons of Ilaje? The governor of Ondo State, Ayedatiwa, is from Ilaje. Bayo Awala explains.
From the pictures I have seen, it seems everybody's living on water.
Yes, our houses are stilted houses. We're being housed on stilts because there is no land. The place is grassy. It's muddy, no land.
And they are prominent sons of Ilaje.
At a point in time, somebody like Ayida, the super pamsec, is from there. There were two others, I've forgotten their names now, who were secretaries to government of Western Region. And as we speak, the governor of that place is an Ilaje man. The governor of Ondo State is an Ilaje man. I hope he gets to see this so that he will know that there's a problem in Ilaje land.
Have you tried to reach him?
Well, I reached him when he was deputy governor. I've not reached him. I was discouraged by the nonchalance that greeted my efforts to raise, these people to pick up the gauntlet and fight this, and it is defeatable. We can fight it. We can fight it. So I'll try and reach him. I'm trying to reach the Obas in the area. We have about 5 prominent, maybe about 6 prominent Obas. So I'm trying to reach. I'll be reaching them next week. I'll be meeting with them next week to see if we can pursue it from that angle. They are the custodian of the people, so they should be concerned.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Yes, I'll be releasing the video interview with Bayo Awala on my YouTube page next week. So you can subscribe to my YouTube channel to listen to that interview. And that interview will offer you the opportunity to see videos of the situation we are trying to describe. And hopefully, I will go to Ilaje when I return from my trip. Yes, I'll be traveling out of the country soon for some time, but the show will run. Oh, I'll present from anywhere. So when I return, it's going to be a long trip a bit, but the radio man will be on. So when I return, I hope to go to Ilaje. I want to see what is going on. Are you there? And I promise to bring you the Festus Adedayo interview. But I'm thinking I might not be able to do justice to that interview with the time I have here. That is not to say I will not give you a taste of that interview. But before then, what do you think about Ilaje? Remember how we started this morning? Power rotation in your state. Now I just talked about Ilaje. I want to hear from you. Are you from Ilaje? Are you from Ondo State? The numbers to call 070 694 930 00. That is 070 694 930 00. You can also call 070 144 757 70. That is 070 144 75770. So call the radio station. Festus Adedayo is the author of the book Ayinla Omowura, Life and Times of an Akpala Legend. I can't stop reading this book. I love this book. The way Festus told the story in a reportorial way, like the journalist that he is. The book is a narrative of the life and times of one of the most profound and unarguably one of the most original Yoruba musicians of post-colonial Nigeria. Murdered in a barroom brawl in Abeokuta, Ogun State in 1980. Ayinla Omowura, 40 years after his untimely passage, has refused to die. That 40 years is when Festus wrote this book. So this is 5 years after Festus Adedayo wrote this book. So now we are saying 45 years after the passage of Ayinla Omowura. That is why in that interview with Dr. Adedayo, it's a complete story. It is the longest interview I've uploaded on my YouTube channel because I could not afford to over-edit it. I still had to remove some part. But it's an interview you should listen to. There's a caller there. Let's hear from you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Oluwa. I'm calling from Agboru, Ibadan.
All right, the ball is in your court.
Yeah, please, I'm sorry because the earlier wanted to make a comment. I tried and I couldn't get it. About this issue of educational stuff. I just want to say that Nigerians should wake up everywhere. The only thing that I love about this government, this present administration, is that we are witnessing, we are waiting for people, to their rights and to be able to stand. This week that is that the people are talking all around and saying that it's destroying PDP. I think such kind of, we should pray for multiple, many of wicked to rise up in these parties. Any party that does not give room for rotation should be destroyed and be killed. Because, the virtue of our geographical or ethnic composition in this country, all we need is inclusive participation. It's not for a region or a set of people to be dominating other people. We should come to this reality that our democracy is not growing just because of this mindset that democracy is the government of the majority against the minority. No, it is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And it must be seen that I have input in it, you have input in it, we are all stakeholders and we all agree together. So this country, if we want to stay together, if we cannot live by that, then we should pack it up. And the people that are fighting against the rotational presidency, I think they are postponing the evil day. People should rise up.
You have not talked about Oyo State, that is the subject.
Yes, the Oyo State issue. Oyo State people should also wake up. I mean, people from the minority places. And also Ibadan should have a rethink. So the people are just dominating there and they are happy. They are coming in Ibadan today, another Ibadan tomorrow. Look at Edo State, look at Lagos State. At least they are maturing. They are doing these things. They are doing this rotational thing. And all progressive Congress, go and check the government. I mean the government controlled by all progressive Congress. They are doing by their senatorial district. That's how they produce their governorship candidate. And it must be registered. We should carry it to our constitution. We should carry it to our law.
Thank you.
That no zone should dominate the other. And thank God for our governor, Seyi Makinde. He participated and if he brings it now, everybody should support him.
Thank you.
Any party that brings it at the money, that party should be destroyed.
Destroy. Okay.
Yes. So we should destroy them. We should get them out.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Isaac Adebowale says the next governor should come from outside Ibadan for equity, justice, and fairness. Abeza Charles Obina says if APC picks an Ibadan man in 2027, I don't see PDP picking from those other 4 blocks. An Ibadan man plus federal might could give APC an edge over PDP. PDP can only fight the war if it picks an Ibadan man. That is the opinion of Abeza Charles Obina. Oluseyi Ibikunle says CS. Which one is CS? Sometimes just write it out. Don't give me the stress of trying to know your shorthands. I might not be able to deduct that now. Ridwan Holler says, good morning, Radio Man. It is real GIS technologies. Power rotation may not be easy in a state like Oyo State because the voting power of Ibadan and its metropolis will not allow the rotation of power. I suggest those other 4 zones should come to a round table and take the power from Ibadan. Olakayode says, good morning, Radio Man. It is only if Ibadan political leadership decide to pity other zones, that is when they can become governor for your state, by giving tickets of all dominant political parties to other zones. APC ticket, PDP ticket, and other parties to other zones. Okay. Let's see. You see, for me, I believe there's nothing a charismatic candidate cannot achieve, no matter where he comes from. There's something about that charisma. You can come from the minority, and you just, with your charisma, you will move everybody. Like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton came from Arkansas in the United States. That's all, that small state. But when he came with the beauty of his charisma, the beauty of his visionary ideas, his elegance, his brilliance, he swayed Americans, and everybody swung to his side. Okyogun, are you listening? Okyogun. Oyonko, arise and shine. Ibarakwa, wake up. Ugumosho, how are you? Ibadan, Kiniso. It is power, it is politics. It's about Ilaje. The barroom brawl. The story of Ayila Moura. The lines are open. Let's hear from you. You can leave your messages on YouTube, on Facebook, on X. Good morning.
Yeah, the radio man. I have some question to ask.
All right.
Do you think, Mr. President, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the election on the platform of equity and fairness? It's no. The man worked for it. He hijacked the power. As a matter of fact, hijacked the power from the northern part. Even, do you remember in the 1990s, the unknown party, AD, the man used it to conquer the whole Southwest first. If we want to...
Hello. Don't cut it. I want to hear him. I like that. It's gone. Sorry, it's network. I like that force he came with. Sorry, try again. Okay? We're trying to help the phone network. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is Blessing from Adetoko, Unobaru.
Happy to hear your voice.
Yes, I'm so happy to hear the program this morning. I'm also from Ilaje.
Good.
So God will bless Baba. Baba will live love for us. Please, Nigeria should come to our help. They should help us. I know what we are facing from there. I know what we are facing. Like, it's not nice at all. And if Baba can give us his number so that we can talk to him for people like us that want to come home.
So what are you facing in Laje? When was the last time you went home?
I went home in 2021.
What did you see?
A lot. There is no light, no electricity, water, the road, a lot of things. Even the village, like we can't visit the village. I just went to Igbokoda. The village is so terrible. We can't go there.
Okay, you can if you go on odigboshe.co/documentary, you can contact Bayo Awala through that website.
Okay. I've written down the website.
Yes, Odigbose, ODIGBOSE.co.
Yes.
Okay.
Odigbose.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
That's Baba, 85 years. And luckily, he's also aging graciously. He walks straight, at 85. When Baba was in NTA, long ago. And he's still fighting to save his people, to using his trade. I'm encouraged. At that age. I'm encouraged. Well done, Baba Bayo Awala. All right, we have another caller here. Good morning. Hello. Are you there? Okay, let me give you a taste of the Festus Adedayo interview part 2. How Ayinla Omowura died. Let's go. We started this discourse last week. Now, let's feel this part of the discourse.
Ayinla Omowuras must have understood it too.
Exactly, and they used it effectively. However, I also tell people that what killed Ayinla Omowura wasn't because he was steeped in traditional metaphysics. What killed him was, if you read this book, of course, I dedicated a chapter to his death. And as I said, I did what an anthropologist will do. And I went ahead to also give it a reportorial slant. Of course, different versions, the ones that were contradictory, I pointed out the contradictions, and then I held on to what I felt was logical. People had so many theories about why he died. And the one I found very, very instructive was the one given by a woman called Iyagba. I interviewed the woman for hours in Abeokuta. In fact, she was indisposed that time. She had an injury on her leg. So she was lying on a mat while we did the interview. She was in fact, Ayinla sang her praises in his songs. She had a child for him. That boy, of course, the traditional mark, the tribal marks that every firstborn of Ayinla, must have. That boy had it on his cheeks. So the woman told me that, and it was astounding. She said she would not agree that it was Fatai Bayewumi who killed her husband. Her husband. I said, how do you mean, madam? He said, in fact, she began by saying, Astagfirullah, that God forgive me. I don't believe it was Bayewumi who killed Ayinla Omowura. I said, how do you mean? He said, Ayinla knew he was going to die. I said, how did you mean? He said, about 3 different groups came to him weeks before he died and told him that they saw vision that week that he died, he should be extra careful. He said there was a group from the north that met him and told him that visions that were unimpeachable pointed to the fact that his death was nigh and that it could be avoided if he did some sacrifices. Ayinla Omowura thanked him. And the people told him that their own part of the sacrifice, they would do it. The woman told me that Ayinla Omowura never did the sacrifice until he died. So some other groups in Abeokuta came to him. They foresaw that danger loomed ahead. In fact, I was also told that his spiritual advisor, Agbejapa Oba, it was Agbejapa. He was the priest of Ijapa Oba. Although later he called him Ayinla Agbejapa Igbure. He was a priest of Oba. But later, the Igbore people said that, look, he wasn't an Oba priest. He should actually be a priest of Igbore. So, Ayinla Agbejapa Igbore also foresaw that death was lurking around Ayinla Omowura. And they said that some also told him never to fight anybody. That if he fought anybody, the person could die or that he would die.
He was also quick-tempered.
He was extremely quick-tempered. In fact, his brother, Dauda Ekpuakara, were latter days revelation when Ayinla Omowura died. And Dauda Ekpuakara wanted to take over. There was a contest between him and Ayinla's son, Akim, on who would take over Ayinla Omowura's band. Dauda, from my interviews, used to tell people that, look, do you know how many slaps I suffered from him? Because Dauda was a little bit educated. He was the secretary of the band. He would sit behind him. So he would be reading from the names that needed to whose praises he needed to sing. So he would whisper the names to Ayinla Omowura and he would sing, those names out as praise singing. If Dauda made any mistake, he said he received so many slaps, dirty slaps from Ayinla Omowura. So as I was saying, so all these revelations, Ayinla never cared to do his own part of the sacrifices. And then on the day that he died, it was obvious that he was on the path of a tragedy. If you look at witnesses, what they said about him, as if he was also moving towards death. I was told that on that morning, he went to visit Agbeja Kpaoba, to look at the concussion, to see the concussion that Agbeja Kpaoba was preparing for him. And one of the children of Agbeja Kpaoba I interviewed said, immediately Ayinla left his father that morning, his father started crying. And he was crying inconsolably, saying that Ayinla Omowura was gone.
Why did Ayinla leave? He was supposed to take that concussion.
Yes, what he said was that he was going.
Feel the drum. If you read Festus Adedayo's book, that drum is what is called Akpala. The drum. The full story. You see, next week I'm going to do justice to the death of Ayinla Omowura. It's an edition you should not miss. The story. You see, we will drive the story with Festus Adedayo's narrative. So don't miss next week's edition, the Ayinla Omowura story, how he died. But if you can't wait, you can go on my YouTube channel. The full video is there. Ayinla Omowura. You see that beat? Let me introduce you to two books before I go. Beautiful Nubia. I was with Beautiful Nubia during the week. We sat down, we looked at his music, we looked at philosophy of existence. We went deep. Now, the story of Beautiful Nubia is the story of music as a tool for redemption. And you cannot attain that level of redemptive lyrics without being deep. So Beautiful Nubia is a deep mind. His name is also Segun Akinlolu. Now he has told his story in a book entitled Sounds of Joy. Sounds of Joy. That is the autobiography of Beautiful Nubia. You can order your copy on udarabooks.com or through my WhatsApp number 080 999 18449. You see, I'm also looking at musicians as a tool for redemption. That is why I wanted to know about Ayinla Omowura. We'll come to that aspect of Ayinla Omowura as a social critic, a social commentator. I've also spoken with Beautiful Nubia And I will bring you the beautiful Nubia story. But if you read his autobiography, you will understand where he's coming from. Another book I think you should read, is this one, Arrest the Music, Fela and His Rebel Art and Politics. Fela and His Rebel Art and Politics. Read this book, and you will know about Fela. There is another book on Fela that I did not bring this morning. It's entitled Afrobeat. Afrobeat, written by Professor Shola Oloruyomi. You don't want to miss the Professor Shola Oloruyomi interview on State Affairs. Professor Oloruyomi wrote that book, Afrobeat, Fela and the Imagined Continent. We have broken that book into beats for your understanding. So wait for the Shola Oloruyomi interview on State Affairs. You see the power of music as a tool for redemption. That interview will come. We've not even uploaded it yet on YouTube. So you will hear it on Splash 105.5 FM. So Arrest the Music, Fela and His Rebel Art and Politics, written by Tejumola Olaniyan. Sadly, Tejumola Olaniyan is no more. But his book speaks for him. So I recommend this book to you. You'll find it on udarabooks.com. Then the book Afrobeat, Fela and the Imagined Continent. You also find that on udarabooks.com. The radio man has to go now. I worked with Desmond Pupola to bring you this edition of the show. I also worked with Sunday Adeniji. He's streaming here. Ayomide Lawson, how are you? I worked with Samuel Kalu, Ayo, Ashimolo, and Miriam Giwa. Together, we brought you this edition of State Affairs. The next program is Sijoba Tiwa with Sheun Special. It's a special program by a special presenter. Don't miss the show. Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Edmondo Bilo. Thank you for being there.